Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of From Page to Stage. I'm your host, Wendy Corner, and this podcast is for you if you're an entrepreneur. Yes, page, stage come together in entrepreneurship. You might be thinking, hang on, page, author? Nah, not me. Well, okay, you may or may not have a solo book out. You may or may not have a contributory book out. You might have a blog, but I can guarantee you've got socials, haven't you? And what's that if it's not published work? Oh, check that box. Speaking. Ooh. Now that may be something that you're really not very happy about. If you consider yourself shy or an introvert, my question is, can you do a one-on-one conversation with somebody? I'm going to guess yes, in which case you can do a podcast. And that is a stage. Let's get you on a stage. Share your wonderful message. Now, you're in the right place. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the gorgeous Ry. Say your surname for me.
Duong.
Duong. Ry Duong.
Thank
you can see why I asked for Ry to say it for you. Not an English name. So I'm going to say, Ry, I know about this much about you.
Yeah.
And that's because we've had lots of chats. But you know yourself far better than I do. So I'm going to pass the baton over to you. Tell us a bit about who you are and how you got to where you are now.
Awesome. I will. First of all, I just wanted to say, isn't she amazing, Wendy? Like, this lady is hilarious. She's funny. She stands in her power. She's unapologetic of who she is. And I love that energy. I love you from the start. And you were so helpful and like helping me with my book. I am so incredibly just grateful for you. And to be here, it might be 10:30 at night, but for Wendy, I don't do that for a lot of people, but for Wendy, I am just so happy. And like I said, before coming on, I actually finished the gym with my boyfriend. We even had like a 40-minute spa and I'm all prepped and all fire up, looking pretty. And I'm so happy to be here. So it's going to be a fantastic conversation. So briefly, my name is Ry Duong. I am based in Montreal, Canada. I am a relationship coach, as you can see, EternaLove. And how I actually started this whole entire thing is I have a training in social work. So I work a lot with different peoples and couple. And at the time I was working with a lot of adolescents between the age of 12 to about 17 young female who were struggling in love and really have very bad experience, and that their level of confidence and self-worth was really like at rock bottom. And I was able to lift them up, and they're now in thriving and healthy relationship. And I thought to myself, I've always loved love. Ever since I was a kid, my sister would make fun of me. She's like, my God, you with your romantic movie is so gushy, because she doesn't like that. She's like, it's so gushy, it's so cheesy, but I'm a sucker for it. What can I say? I've always loved that. And so when my sister passed away from depression in 2020 on February the 20th, it's been now 5 years. She committed suicide, and I don't say that often. I'm actually standing in that power now. Before, I used to always say she passed away from depression and let people assume whatever that meant. But now I can say, because it's an important issue. So she committed suicide. And she was only 30, and she's my baby sister, and we're like twins with very different energy. We are extremely different, but extremely compatible. We work well as a team. I kick her ass, she kicks my ass. So I tell her she might be in heaven now. So kick ass while you're up there, while I'm back on earth, kicking ass here, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, living my life purpose, which is helping single people and couple find lasting love, true love. So at that moment when she passed away, of course, my world was turned upside down. And I thought to myself, I actually had to admit that I was actually in a 17-year and unhealthy relationship. And that was devastating to admit, because all I wanted was to be married to one person and one person only for the rest of my life. Unfortunately, life had other plans, and I had to adapt. And I thought to myself, can I live with this person for another 3 years, 5 years? My sister's life was, one moment she's here, the next she's gone. Life is too short. So I decided I would file for a divorce, and I started this business, EternaLove, in honor of my sister legacy.
Right.
And here I am.
Oh, Ry, what a story. Real
Thank
roller
you.
coaster, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's the point, isn't it? We can't have a strong message without having had some mess first. It's a cliche,
Yeah.
I know, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. Can you just give us where does the name Ry Duong come from? Because I mean, you're in Montreal. It's not
Yes.
French. It's
No,
not
it
French.
isn't. It is Cambodian. And I
Cambodia.
got that name because my mom, when I was a little baby, I would laugh a lot. And so at the time, the French colonized Cambodia, and the word rire, it means smile. So it's like a laughing baby. And that's why she gave me the name Marie. And Duong is my family name, the Cambodian family name. And it's also a name of a very famous king in Cambodia, Duong. So not that I'm linked to any of that, but I'm just saying, yeah.
I had some goosey moments. I love the fact that names can mean something.
Yeah.
Mine, I discovered, a little bit of useless information. I knew that my name, Wendy, was invented by J.M. Barrie in Peter Pan. Wendy didn't exist before that. But a few months ago, I discovered where Wendy came from. The playwright J.M. Barrie, he had a really good friend. I mean, this was back, oh golly, well, it would have been sort of Victorian England.
Okay.
And he had a very good friend who had a little daughter who was terminally ill, basically. And he used to spend quite a lot of time with her, telling her stories and helping her through the trauma of basically dying. She was 5 and she couldn't remember his name, but she knew he was friendly, so called him Fwendy. And children's phonology, hello speech therapist here, it got transferred into Wendy. Sounds like a good name. And so that's where the name that he gave the caring, friendly female character of the children, the darling children, that's where it came from. And when I heard that, I went, I can wear that. I'm friendly. Take that.
Yes.
So without my mother and father knowing, that was an appropriate name, just as Ry is for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I actually have to admit, Wendy is one of my English name that I love. When I first came to Canada, I didn't really speak English. There was this show called Wendy, and she had red hair with ponytails. And her name is Wendy, and she was extremely the most giving, but super strong. The most sweetest giving. She'll protect the innocent, and I always admire her. And from that moment, I fell in love with redhead women. And I was like, every redhead when it's just, stereotyping, but I've always loved the name Wendy. And so here you are, Wendy, the first name I've ever encountered in the Caucasian world, and I've always admired Wendy. So it is no coincidence that you are here with me.
Thank you very much, Ry. I received that. I take that in. Thank you. Thank you. This is a mutual love fest, isn't it? Let's go back to our reason for being here. Okay, I want to take you back in time, Ry. When did you start writing? I mean, I don't mean the mechanics of it, because we were all roughly about the same age of that. How old were you when you landed in Canada?
I was 9 years old. It was just right after my birthday when I landed in Canada. So that was a nice surprise. I mean, we live in the refugee camp in Thailand for 9 years. So my whole entire childhood, I only know the refugee camp. And 9 years.
Were you born in Cambodia, or were you actually born in Thailand?
No, I was born in Cambodia, in Battambang, and then, but very, very young, we moved into the Thai refugee camp to look for a better opportunity in, developed country.
Yeah, right. Okay, so you arrived in Canada, age 9, with no English.
Very little. I did learn in the refugee camp. There was organization, nonprofit organization from people from Taiwan who spoke English. So I had
Okay.
teacher that was teaching me broken English, but still an introduction to English.
Sure. And obviously your script was Khmer. It wasn't
Yes,
English. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Audience, if you've never seen Khmer script, it's not the same alphabet. Okay. It's not a case of like all of English, German, French, all of those Romansh languages can pinpoint. Think of Russian. It's quite different when you see it written down, like Greek. Well, Khmer's live pretty much a completely different script. So yeah. So okay. So think about, what were you writing in Khmer, or did you wait until you
No,
got
I
to
couldn't
English before
write
you really
in
got the bug?
no, I couldn't write in Khmer. I can talk in Khmer, but as one of the language, for some reason, I was struggling to learn my own language. I could speak it, and I was really adept in learning other languages. I became very fluent in Vietnamese. I even learned how to speak Cantonese and Mandarin, then learn English. But for some reason, I can only speak Cambodian, as I was like, I study with a monk. Like my parent put me with a lot of monks, and we would go and learn how to write in Khmer. But it was so hard for me, and I couldn't pronounce the word. I was just struggling. And I guess also my priority was different. My parents put me in other school to learn in the when you're an immigrant, the more language you have, it is an asset. So it was important for me to learn many language, and I spoke many language then, which I don't so much now. I can only speak English, Cambodian, and French. I understand Vietnamese, but I haven't spoken for over 30 years, so it's really harder, but I can pick that back up, and I can still understand some Chinese. So all that just to say, learning.
That's amazing. Children are wonderful little sponges. They can pick up on so many different things. And again, going back to my roots as a speech pathologist, what I used to say to families who were bilingual was start and finish the same sentence in the same language. You can have two sentences on the trot in different languages, but keep the same language for the full sentence. Otherwise, you muddle up the grammar, which the little one's trying to grab hold of. Beautiful. Love it. Love it. So you started school, presumably. Now that probably was a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, it was. It's really hard to learn the language in Cambodian, but when I actually got introduction to English in the refugee camp and then came to Canada, when you're immersed with you need to survive, you need to learn the language, and being exposed to hearing it all the time, it became easier. And thank God the English language is not as complicated like other languages. So that, watching TV and being a sponge at that age, 9 years old, I picked it up pretty easily. So that was good. And then my parent wanted us to speak many language. So they moved from the capital of Canada, Ottawa, and they moved us to Montreal because there was more work and more immigrant too. They were more within their community. So I've learned French. It's a beautiful language, and I'm grateful for it, for my dad deciding to give us more opportunity to speaking more language.
I absolutely take my hat off to all my friends who are polyglots. And the thing is, as you say, when you are a migrant, you have to learn the languages on the way. One of the ladies I used to work with in Perth, Malaysian Chinese, so speaks Mandarin, Cantonese, Malay, English. I think she's also got a smattering of Tamil in there as well.
Wow.
Because of the communities here in Malaysia. I'm going, I've got English. I have got some French, I have got some German, and I'm now learning Spanish. But it's just that ease with which people pick up things. And one of the things I love about language, excuse me, I'm just sort of indulging myself, is how one language you can encapsulate a whole concept in one word. But when you try and translate it into a different language, War and Peace comes out in order to get the nuances of that one concept in that other language.
Yeah.
So love it. Okay, so roughly when did you get the idea that writing you could express yourself really well in your writing?
When I went to school, because they at I think it was grade 3, I was put in a lower grade based on my age, and they would funny story, okay? So the church took us in, our family in, to help us adjust to the new country and all of that, and they were amazing. Like, we're not Catholic or Christian, but the Cambodian community who were Christians took us in, and it gave us a place to go and a place to eat and a winter clothing, and they were so helpful on the weekends. And I've learned the Bible. Like all of the verse in the Bible. That's how I get to be really good in English and the writing and all of that, because they did this competition where young kids who are able to actually say the lines in the Bible, whatever, they would win prizes. And my parents had no money, so that was the only way I can have access to any material stuff. And it was up to me to be able to do that. And so I love myself a good competition. I learned everything that's in that Bible. I won every single weekend because I always get a gift, and I get to give it to my brothers and sister.
Yeah.
But don't ask me what it means. I have no clue.
Well, I suspect it was these thous and thys, wasn't it?
It's just,
Rather than modern language.
yes.
Yes.
But it was a good lesson because I learned to memorize things really well, and it taught me later on the meaning of different things, and I really enjoy that. That's why I'm curious about every different culture, for Bible to any kind of study, because it really expands your mind and it opens to other opportunity, and it's such a beautiful way of learning things.
Yeah. And particularly as you've experienced lots of different cultures, whenever you land yourself in a different culture, there's the possibility of expanding your understanding of the world, because different people look at different people groups, different cultures look at the same thing in different ways. Back to the language thing again. So yeah. Okay. So when did you start writing for yourself?
Writing, what do you mean, writing stories or?
Yeah. When did you feel that actually this sort of creative stuff, I can express myself in writing?
Okay. I never thought I would actually go into writing a book. It was never part of the plan. It was, I've always said when I was a young kid, even when I got to university, I said I knew from a very young age, because my grandfather was a monk and he helped his community. He served. It was all about generosity and giving to the next person and all of that. So I knew my gift was going to be, I thought I was going to save the world. That's truthfully, that's what I thought I was going to do, until I got older and I realized, okay, I can't save everybody. I can only make impact, one small impact around me, starting with one person, and it multiplies and so on. Because I got depressed at one point where I'm like, I'm not saving the world. I'm nobody. So that was epiphany. And then I, readjusted my expectation, put into a more realistic scale. But I
You can
knew
save your world.
yeah, in my own world, my
Just say it.
creation.
Yes. It doesn't have to
Yeah,
be. It doesn't have to be the whole entire
that's
world.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so from that moment on, I said to myself, oh, I'm going to be helping people, but it's going to be through my words and not writing. As long as I don't ever have to write, because I told myself I'm not good at writing, I will avoid it at all costs. But when I got to university, you had to write
Yeah. Afraid
thesis.
so.
And yeah. You have to research, you have to summarize what was between one book, one author, and all of these studies, and you put it together. So I had no choice but to adapt. So I learned, and yet even that, I had this limiting belief that I'm not good at writing, and I should leave it for some other person to do it. I will pass school because I have no choice but to pass with good grade in school. But then when my sister passed away and everything that I've gone through, I just had this like this urge, this voice, because sometimes I do have like these sixth sense that I cannot explain.
Yeah.
And I do have very sharp intuition that was passed on generation by generation. Because my mom can, through a dream, through voices, can predict the future for different things. She's always had that gift. Um, and I thought, wow, what a beautiful ability. But I also had that gift very young. And I was terrified because I thought that made me weird,
Yeah.
that made me stand out, that made me abnormal. And I didn't want to be abnormal. I wanted to just fit in like everybody else.
Of course.
I
Yes.
cast it aside. But when I got into my mid-20s, that's when I realized, there's something here. I'm getting more confidence, like okay being with myself. And I like this ability to be able to see things into the future, hear things, get downloads. Let me explore this. And it has been extremely helpful in my life. There are business partners, there are things that I can predict ahead of time, see things. And I thought, well, why reject it? What if I embrace it and use it to my advantage? So one of
So
the things was the calling up writing the book.
writing, yes, exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. I'm just wanted to. I don't want to
Sure.
labour the point, but when your sister died, did you
Yes.
journal your thoughts? Did you process in writing?
Not so much. I did hear a lot from Oprah how important it is to journal, but I didn't like journaling. Because I don't like writing, and I always thought the process was daunting. I would rather take a tape recorder and record my own voice. It would be faster.
Well, that's it. I mean, some people process verbally out loud.
Mhm.
Some people process on the page. And I get a number of people who said to me, "Oh, I can't write. I can't write. I'm
Mhm.
dyslexic. I don't write. I don't." And my point is, you get one of these,
Mhm.
then talk to it.
Yes.
These days we can put any vocal stuff through AI. It'll
Mhm.
transcribe it.
Yes.
You might get some editing interesting
Mhm.
anomalies, but the point is you can then take that and give it to a real life human and say, could you edit this for me? Or if
Yes.
you need to, a ghostwriter. But that's the
Mhm.
point. Everybody can get their message down on paper somehow.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, love it, love it. And
Mhm.
the book then, so you're not a natural writer, is what you're telling me.
No, I'm not a
Okay.
natural writer. So I would like to be able to pass on the message to people who are not a writer. If you got a message and you believe with conviction that there is a story to be told, and do it not for other people, but do it for yourself. And that is the one model that I follow by,
Mm-hmm.
is that I do things to make myself happy, not to make somebody else's happy.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a voice, an urge inside of you, that's your true essence calling for you to tap into your power. And I've always known that as a very young kid, that I had to listen to that internal voice because it knows best what I don't know with my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
but my subconscious and my higher self knows. Uh, I just knew like I had to write the book. At first, I shut it down. I was like, no, I don't need to write no book. Nobody's gonna read my book. I am no author. I can barely pass like through university. Thank God I made it.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna go through that challenge. But that urge, that voice would just keep getting louder and louder and louder. And at one point, one thing I know about my sixth sense is that when the voice get extremely loud, it means I must accomplish this purpose. So I can't shut it down because it will just annoy the heck out of me.
Have you got it yet? Have you got it yet?
Yeah, that's it. And so I said, okay, fine, leave me alone. I'll figure a way to write this book, you know? And I didn't need to know how I'm going to be able to accomplish it. I just needed to know this book had to get out. And amazingly, in one of my dreams, in one night, I slept and I saw the chapter of all of my book. I saw from beginning to end how the story was written, and the book came to life. And that's when I realized to myself, I can do this. And so I asked the universe for help. I said, okay, now I take on your mission. Put somebody on my path, give me a sign so that I can make this come to reality. And funny enough, I had a coach at the time. Well, she wasn't yet my coach. She was just a networking person that I connected with. I love her energy. And she said, she's done some writing and all of this stuff. And something said to me, reach out to her, connect with her. And I did. And being a person who's very transparent, who just speaks without filter, I said, I have this idea of writing a book, but I'm no writer and I have no idea how to do that. And she said, well, I can help you write a book. I've done many editing and all of these stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I could never afford her because it might charge a couple of $1,000s. I don't have that kind of funds. And it turns out she was going through a rough period where she had no client. And I was a beautiful story of that was I was the gift to a situation. She was, I think she was lacking money for her rent or something that was due. And the fact that she was actually able to close the deal with me at the price that I could afford and that she needed it. And the reason why I know that is because what happened was we were on Messenger. She forgot to hang up the call. And she called her friend in excitement saying, oh my God, you can't believe what just happened. I just closed this deal for this book. I'm so grateful to God, and I thought to myself, oh my God, I needed something. She needed something so desperately to be able to pay her rent, and the two of us connect. And this is how the book came to be, and it morphed. And I have editor helping me with the book. I'm not doing it on my own. Most of it is my own idea. I have to produce everything all by myself. And then my editor helped to make sure that the message comes out clear and it flows easily and all of the thing that comes along with it.
So special, so special. Thank you. So that was that. So that this really is primarily your first foray into writing.
Yes.
I'm sure it won't be the last. Just
no, it's already a series. I already know it's a series.
just a quick thought. When the book finally publishes and you get your box of books, video yourself undoing them and holding your baby for the first time. Because the thing is, it doesn't matter how many books you write, when you hold it for the first time, it doesn't go stale. Because audience, if you're parents, you know that every child is special.
Yes.
When you hold them for the first time, and all the oxytocin comes rushing out. Well, do you know what? Okay, it's not a human, but it is your baby. And you get an oxytocin rush. Male or female. Just lovely. Thank you. So let's think about your speaking journey, because you've said that you were more happy to speak out loud rather than write things down. So tell us how your speaking has evolved over the years. Did you have to do presentations at school?
I did. I do presentations and stuff like that. I've never really liked presentation. Most people are terrified of speaking. I think it's the second fear of most people, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's the second one. And so part of my journey of developing myself, and at the time, my relationship wasn't going where it's supposed to go. And so I needed extracurricular things to do.
Yep.
When I got married, I moved completely far away from families, friends. I live in a rural place with my husband, my then husband. I had no contact to what was familiar to me. I was just among white people. As much as I like it, but the food and the custom is completely different. And I started to become more and more isolated. I didn't feel like I belonged in this town. I found work there and I enjoy my work, but something was just like, I feel like my fire was just dimming down and I couldn't understand. I slowly started hitting depression
Yes.
little by little, just feeling sad and gray and not really understanding. And I thought
That
to
was before your
myself,
sister passed, wasn't it?
yes,
Yes. Okay.
exactly. Thank you for that clarification. And I thought, what's the antidote for this? Is that I used to always like a way to spark up my joy is I like to go to the park and just watch people like, family playing with kids and just interaction and just seeing social. So I thought maybe the fact that I have nothing to look forward, I need to connect with other people.
Yes.
And so I joined Toastmaster,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it was a speaking thing. And so I could work on myself, work on my skill set. And that's how I got introduced to speaking, being less scared of it. But also because I enjoy people. I love listening to people's story. I have a very curious mind. So I love connecting and the social. And that's when slowly I started, speaking on stage, speaking at corporates, speaking at community centers, because I'm so driven. The fear of speaking no longer became the fear because the passion became the purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm there to serve people. So it wasn't about me.
Yes. So
And when
that's
it's
the thing,
no
isn't it?
longer,
You've
yeah,
actually flipped it because you were saying that it's got to be for you first. And
yes.
absolutely, things do have to be for you first. But then when it comes to the fear bit,
Hmm.
the fear is because you're putting your feelings first. And
Yeah.
that's when you flip it round to going, I'm serving someone here. And
Yes.
if I can make a difference in one person's life,
Hmm.
it's worth me standing up and addressing. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Love it, love it, love it. So you're speaking, you've obviously spoken on live stages. Have you
Yes.
done many virtual summits?
I've done a few virtual summits.
Mhm.
Yeah, and as I do that, I feel like I think maybe because I'm a natural born social human being. um, I don't know. I seem to perform quite well in these types of settings without really realizing what I'm doing right or wrong.
Well, the thing is, I mean, audience, and I'm sure you'll appreciate this, there
Mhm,
are complementary but different skill sets required
mhm,
for the physical on stage. I can
mhm,
move around. And the little box that we have here in Zoom land, other
mhm.
platforms are available. My point is that you do need to be aware of what your parameters are when you're on virtual, whereas you can use the full stage when you're
Mhm,
live, but it's
mhm.
also knowing how to do it purposefully, intentionally.
Yeah. Yes.
As with any virtual thing, you need to know where the camera is. So
Mhm,
I don't know whether, audience, if you haven't already seen me talk about this, when you are live on your phone, remember where the camera is. Don't look at your face, look at the camera, which is on an iPhone up here somewhere, because otherwise we're hardwired to look at faces. And
mhm,
so
mhm.
we'll look at the face down here and you get a lovely view of my ear. Yeah, no. Or that you'll angle the phone in such that you're looking at my nose.
Yes.
There are things that you need to be aware of when you're doing virtual stuff,
Mhm,
which are
mhm.
different to when you're doing physical stuff.
Yes.
Similar, complementary, and different.
Mhm,
And also, if you're doing a podcast that is audio only, when you explain things, as I sometimes
mhm.
do, if what goes on between here does not match what comes out of here, these will give you away. If it's audio only, you've not got a clue what I've just said, have you? Because it was very visually shown.
Mhm,
So that's when you need to be aware of what goes on between your ears. If it doesn't match what comes out of your mouth, then your
mhm,
non-verbals, your hands, your body will give you away.
mhm.
So those are things to be aware of, audience, if you haven't already clocked them. So we've spoken about your writing. We've spoken about your speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more about this wonderful book.
So the book is called Choose You, Choose Happiness. It is a book about self-love, how I actually went through all of the discovery to be able to find myself again. Because during that 17 marriage, I was so consumed with pleasing my husband that I lost my own identity in the process. I looked at myself in the mirror and I didn't recognize the woman that I was looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And my level of confidence went from being extremely confident girl, independent and all that, to not really recognizing my own worth. Like, because of all of the thing that was repeated to me, I started doubting my own self-worth.
Yes.
And so that whole entire journey of what I had to go through, losing my sister, really tapping back into my own source, my essence. I went back as an attempt to reconnect with myself before I filed for the divorce. I made a decision. I wasn't going to ask permission to my ex-husband to go back to Cambodia after 30 years. So I said, honey, I'm not asking permission, because I've always asked permission. Every time I did stuff, I seek his approval because that's my way of showing respect.
Yep.
But then I realized that that's the Asian way. In the Western world, you're equal. You don't always have to ask permission. You can declare what you're going to do without having to wait for somebody to approve it. But I didn't know any difference.
Quick question. Was your
Yes.
husband Asian?
No, he's Caucasian. He's
Right.
Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Thank
again,
you
you've
for
got the two different cultures.
Yes.
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. So you headed back to Cambodia.
I
Found your roots.
did. Yes, I went back to my roots. And funny story is that, again, it's intuition. I needed clarity. Do I stay in the marriage? Do I leave the marriage? And it is so hard when you spend 17 years building and putting every ounce of passion and love into building this magnificent thing in your head. It's hard to decide to say you're not going to stick around. But my intuition told me, if you want clarity on whether you should stay or not, we're going to give you an opportunity. I am going to put through the internet. It just so happened, it's so random. One evening, it's not what I normally do, scrolling on my brother's computer, pops up this vacation to go to Cambodia for an amazing deal that I've never seen before. It was like
Awesome.
$1,000. Yeah. $1,000. Normally it's 1,500s and 2,000s and more to go on this trip. And I didn't have the means at the time. I was like, where am I going to find $1,000? So the universe said to me, well, it's mostly my ancestors speaking to me. Child, we given you an opportunity. You want clarity. This is your opportunity. Will you jump at it, or will you cave in and not do it? But here, present an opportunity. It's the best we can offer you for $1,000, you know? And I followed that intuition, put in my credit card, clicked and closed my eye, and I go, oh my God, did I purchase that? And it was so last minute. I got a promotion at work. Now, me leaving to go for this trip to get clarity in my life and my marriage meant I was going to lose my promotion because my manager will not approve of my vacation. She will have no choice but to approve the vacation, but she will be unhappy, will demote me back to my old position, which is not what I want.
Yes.
But the intuition said to me, don't worry about none of those things. You want clarity? We're giving you clarity. You need to act. So I did all of that. And funny thing, I went on that trip and they said only one rule is to go on that trip. Through the whole entire trip, you're going to guilt trip yourself about how you're making the worst decision of your life, how irresponsible you are to go back to Cambodia. Your husband is not going to want it. He's going to resent you for it. Your marriage is going to break apart. You're going to lose your promotion. It is a disaster. Logic said it is a disaster scene. I don't know what you're doing. Intuition says this is your best move. So who do you listen to? Logic seems to be like, every signal is like sending red flags everywhere. I chose to believe, and I chose to do something drastically different in my life. And all that just to say, they had one condition. The one condition is that I go for 3 weeks and have the most amazing time and don't feel guilty about having fun. Just go, have fun, bathe into it, tap into the motherland, and you will get your answer. And so every single day, as guilty as I felt because my husband couldn't be with me and I missed my kid and I longed to be with them, every day I had to repeat to myself, I will not make myself feel guilty. I will maximize this trip to the best of my ability. And that's exactly what I did. And that's how I gained clarity, because through the process, I noticed that my husband was not the person that I was imagining, hoping for, because I would call him every single day. And at the first couple of days, he did answer my call, but then he started avoiding the call, refusing to pick up the call, and was conveying message to me like, what kind of woman leaves their husband to go on a solo trip on their own? And then he says to me, people at his work was talking, she must have somebody else that she's meeting on this trip. And I swear to God, I had nobody. I went really solo to just figure myself out. And I was hoping that I would come back and we would somehow miraculously, we would reconnect. He would miss me and I would miss him. And I would say, felt the same thing. Unfortunately, that was not the case. And I realized, I saw how random strangers, I met so many people from Scotland, from Ireland, from um, Brazil, France. Every single human being that I met with were kind, generous. They shower me with love in many ways, act and I thought to myself, how can these stranger treats me so good, but yet at home I'm constantly feeling like I'm a letdown to my partner and there's so much negativity. And that's when I realized, this is my clarity. Is this the partner
That's
I want
what
to
you
be?
needed. Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Oh,
So sometimes in life, you need to do, and all that to say, I came back, I got demoted. Of course, I got demoted, but I came back and my intuition was right. The day I came back to work, I got another promotion for a different job. So I've lost nothing. I actually had more money because right after, my sister, long after, she passed away and she left me a whole bunch of money. So sometimes,
this is the thing. I mean, I put a post up yesterday on the
yeah,
Facebook feed saying we live life forwards, but we make
yeah,
sense of it looking backwards.
yes,
And the thing is, as we're going through the messy bit, it
yeah,
feels horrible.
it does.
And yet afterwards, we can look back, and there's another phrase I often use, our gifts can come gift wrapped in sandpaper,
Yes.
which is painful
Mm-hmm.
until the sandpaper's worn off, and then you get the opportunity to see the wonderful gift inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. Thank you. So your book, we haven't quite got a publication.
Sorry, I lost track in my own story. So choose you,
We're still
choose
coming up.
happiness. Yeah, so it's in its final chapter, really polishing everything all together. I'm hoping that it actually get launched, well, in April, and it'd be great if it comes out on April the 28th. That is my sister's birthday. She'll be 35,
Yeah.
but
Well,
that would be.
you've got a date to work to.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I am working my butt off with that book. I don't think there's anybody more excited than me to get that book off. It's been 2.5 years in the working process. But
It's
all
2.5 years in the working process, but it's a lifetime in the writing.
yes.
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 Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. That's wonderful. Thank you. So we've talked about your writing, we've talked about your speaking, we've talked about this wonderful book. When
Yes.
you are speaking, how do
Yeah.
you embody your words when you go from page? I appreciate the page is still coming, but the page to the stage, how do you embody your words?
I really just do it from a place of I think all intentions are, anyway, I think that's the law of attraction. I'm able to attract many different things in my life, not really understanding the law of attraction, but just knowing that I have to be aligned. So my body is just, to me, it's just an illusion. It's the spirit that I'm in. So when I speak about my book, I really speak from the heart. I speak from my language, the way, and that's the type of coaching when I do with my clients as well. You are unique in your person. The way you deliver your message, it's meant for the tribe of people who will hear you. So there's no right or wrong. There's a certain formula that, you can work to perfect it and elevate it for sure. But you can't go wrong from speaking to your truth. You know your story better than anybody else. And you have to stand in that conviction. And when you embody it and the word become a part of you, that is magnetic. Like it will
Well,
speak.
the audience
Yes.
gets the connection with you because you are connected with your own words.
Yes.
And as you say, it is incredibly powerful
Yes.
and magnetic. Yeah.
Yes.
Love it. Thank you. Okay, as we're winding up, have you got any final words of wisdom for us?
I'm at this stage right now. I'm about to do another big leap, and I'm gonna announce that on your show. I am really, I had an amazing job, but I'm actually leaving the 9 to 5 job to really pursue my business, my life purpose full time. And it is terrifying. I mean, I've been hustling on the side for the last 5 years. And it has given me some traction, but not enough to really just dedicate it. And as scary as it is, because most of my time is like 40 hours in the 9 to 5 job, so a lot of it takes my attention span.
That's your social work job, is it?
That's my government job. So, and I love where I work, but it's just not aligned with the purpose that I want to make an impact on people and helping people with love. It's all I really want to do because I can eat that all day long and it doesn't feel like work to me. I can't even believe I actually get paid to do what I do. That's when you're in the right line of work. But all that just to say that I am taking that journey. So to say to you, sometime like the way Wendy said it so well, sometime your gift come in like the grade of the sand, like
Sandpaper.
the sandpaper. But once it roughs off, and then you get to look back and see the whole, make sense of the whole entire thing. So I'm about to do another big leap in my life. I'm gonna have to trust the process. But it doesn't mean go blindly. Plan it properly as best as you can. So always be prepared. Preparation is huge. But sometimes you gotta trust and just jump and get the support. I got an amazing support from my wonderful partner who's like, babe, I support you in your dream. I know you're gonna succeed and I got your back. So it takes some solid foundation of people around you to know to make sure, because there'll be days you're gonna go, I'm gonna want to throw in the towel. But I know that this is my life purpose to do this, and there's nothing else I would rather do. And it's all about your attitude. So if you go in there like a winner, like any kind of sports, I mean, I relate to sport because I love sports. But if you're going into a competition and you're already thinking you're about to lose, well, goddamn sure you will. But if you go in there with the mindset of being a winner, whether you win or not, you know that you gave in your very best and you can be proud of that.
Give it your all. I love it. I love it.
Yes. And jump and trust.
Oh, yes.
You have all of the resource within you, and you ask for help for the people around you. Don't be shy to ask for help. And that used to be my biggest struggle because I used to be such a strong and independent woman. Being strong and independent is amazing, but it can get exhausting. You don't have to be that person all the time.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Oh, Ry, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your From Page to Stage.
Yes, thank you so much, Wendy, for having me. I love you and I adore you. I can't rave enough about you. And I can't wait to have you on my Nothing Less Than Extraordinary podcast.
Have you enjoyed this Love Fest, audience? Hasn't it been wonderful? Hasn't it been wonderful? Thank you, Ry, for sharing your From Page to Stage. Now from us, bye for now.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.